What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it is my first time finishing GTA 3 Definitive Edition. Now, I want to make that clear throughout the entire video that I played and finished the Definitive Edition of GTA 3 back when, I think in 2021, Rockstar, they didn't develop it, but they had a team develop the GTA trilogy and remaster it and put it out. And if you know about how these games came out, then you know that when they launched, they were in a very bad spot. But I think they had a new developer, a new team go back, work on the games, fix them up, and now I will say that just based off GTA 3, I haven't played Vice City and San Andreas, but GTA 3 is definitely a lot better than it was when the games first came out. They definitely are playable. They are playable games, even though when they came out they were not. I wanted to make that clear, so throughout this video I did not play the original version of GTA 3, so I want to try and do my best to make sure that even though this is a remaster of the original GTA 3, I don't want to pretend like what I see here is how it was in the original, because there might be some differences I don't know about. So I want to make clear I played GTA 3 Definitive Edition, finished that for the first time, and I have some thoughts. So without further ado, let's dive in. So really quickly, I want to talk about my background with GTA so you know where I'm coming from when it comes to my opinions on GTA as a whole. So I have played and finished only GTA 5. I did not play any of the GTA games when I was younger, when they were coming out. So coming into GTA 3, I have no nostalgia whatsoever. There's a lot of people that maybe played those games, the original trilogy or GTA 3 when they first came out, and they hold a lot of nostalgia. I don't have any of that. So coming into this, I was my expectations weren't the highest, because I really, compared to like Vice City and San Andreas, GTA 3 is the one that doesn't get talked about nearly as much. It is in that same vein of 3D open world GTA games, one of the first games to ever do that, but it isn't talked about nearly as much or nearly as highly as Vice City and San Andreas. But my goal is to try and experience all of the main GTA games. Not all of them, but you know, GTA 3, San Andreas, Vice City, and GTA 4 before 6 comes out. So obviously I wanted to start my journey from the beginning and dive into GTA 3. So that's just a quick background of where I'm coming from. I don't have any nostalgia for GTA 3 playing the Definitive Edition. This is the first time I've experienced this game coming into it. Didn't know a whole lot about it, barely anything. I knew it was set in Liberty City, and that it was really the first game to do this huge and ambitious 3D open world that no one had really done. So that's really all I knew coming into GTA 3. So that's kind of my background going into it. Let's talk about the open world and the setting of GTA 3. It is set in Liberty City, which is a fictionalized version of New York City. And this is probably one of, if not my favorite parts of the game. I really like the vibe and the feel of Liberty City. It's, you know, not your Vice City, not your San Andreas. All these GTA games, for the most part, have different settings and do a very good job of differentiating the settings from each other. And GTA 3 being the first to dive into the 3D open world, having it set in Liberty City and having the story that they want to tell be told in this setting, I think was a great call. It's gritty, it's not super pretty, it's not like Vice City where it's a great looking city and stuff like that. It is a very grounded and gritty and almost kind of bleak for the most part setting. There are parts of the open world that, you know, you have in the middle of the map. When you really get into the city part of the map, You have skyscrapers and huge buildings where you can see characters living their best life, living as good as they can in Liberty City. But then, like, at the beginning of the map, the first island, you see, it's a lot of buildings, busy streets. You have the Times Square, you have Chinatown, stuff like that. I mean, the different locations in this game are done very, very well in terms of making you feel like that you're living in this city, you're a part of it, and the setting is definitely one of my favorite parts, especially like when it starts raining and it looks really good, and that's when it's like, that fits the atmosphere of this game very, very well. Really enjoyed the open world and the setting in GTA 3. That is the part of the game that I think when I look back on GTA 3 and me playing it, I would be down to just boot up GTA 3 again just to drive around and listen to the radios and the songs on the radios, listen to the AI and the streets talk to each other and all the voice lines that they have, and also see the AI drive, because I don't know if I want to exactly talk about AI right now, but what I will say is that the AI, it's good, but it's also bad, but in good ways, if that makes sense. Because when I'm looking at AI and I'm driving down the street, they'll cut you off a lot. There'll be a 2-lane road, and you're in the left lane, and they come from the right lane, just right into the left lane as soon as you're about to get past them. And it's like, well, why would you do that? But that also very, very accurately represents, not just New York City, and I'm sure how people drive in New York City, just in general, how people drive. That happens a lot of the time. And you see people bouncing between lanes, and the AI does that as well. And you see the AI, like if you're going straight and they're looking to turn left, they turn left right as you're about to get there. Sometimes you even hit them, but they turn really quick to be able to get across all the traffic. And I feel like, you could say that's just really bad AI, and maybe it is, but for me, when I was playing, it also helped push towards being immersed in this setting, and seeing how bad the AI is at driving almost helped the immersion, because, people were driving sometimes not great. So in this game, I think the AI does a great job of representing that, and it goes along with the open world and the setting. And like I said, you can get out of your car, or even in your car, you can hear AI just talking crap to each other. Stuff that GTA games do, like GTA 5, but again, this game came out in 2001, and they were still able to nail that part of it, having these NPCs have dialogue with each other, talk to each other, have just really crazy and stupid, out-of-pocket dialogue just walking down the street. So the open world and the setting, I think, is probably one of two things, we'll talk about the other thing later, that is my favorite part about GTA 3. So going alongside the open world, what exactly is there to do in the open world? What are the activities that you'll be doing in GTA 3? And honestly, there's not a whole lot. It's very, very basic when it comes to, if you want to go away from the story, you don't want to do any of that, you kind of just want to see what this game can offer to you. There's not a whole lot. You have, what I think of when it comes to side activities in GTA 3 are your main 3 side mission type things, where you can hop in a taxi and do taxi driving. You can get taxi fares, just go around, pick up NPCs, drive them to certain locations, drop them off, you get money for that. Also, you have police vigilante missions, where you can, if you steal a cop car, you can turn on the sub missions, and they will give you a criminal to go track down and kill. They might be driving in a car, you might have to get them out of the car to kill them, you might have to blow up their car, stuff like that. You also have the ambulance missions, the paramedic missions, and also I said 3, but there's also 4. So there's the paramedic missions with the ambulance, where you can hop in, you go find 1, 2, 3 people. It keeps building up and building up, and you just grab them, take them back to the hospital, rinse and repeat. Also, you have the fire truck missions, which I don't remember exactly what those are called. Firefighting missions. I think there's a certain name I can't remember. So you have very solid foundations for open world missions where if you find a fire truck, ambulance, police car, taxi, you can do stuff with those and you know gain money. Also, you get pretty solid missions. They do get repetitive, but they do give you something to do if you're looking for something to do. And you know that can only hold you for so long. I think it's cool that you're able to do that. And I don't think they're bad at all. They're just very basic. You know, at the time, I'm sure that this was a very cool thing. It still is a very cool, solid idea for open world side missions, but they do get repetitive after a while. You know, I wouldn't want to go and, you know, there's achievements for completing 100 taxi fares, and, you know, you have to reach paramedic level 12 and stuff like that. I thought about going for those, but I didn't end up going for those while I was playing. I just kind of experimented with all of them just to see what they could offer. So you, including your storyline missions, your main story stuff, and then also the side, you know, kind of, I guess, career activities, if you want to call them that. You have payphone missions. Those are your actually real side missions where you walk up to a payphone, talk to characters, they give you stuff to do, and there's little small quest lines to do with those. You also have stuff like hidden packages around the world if you want to go look for those. Stunt jumps are in this game that you can do. There's not a whole lot to do in the open world. There's no, you know, strip club, or there's no pool or darts like there would be in a newer GTA, bowling like in GTA 4. I do know in San Andreas you can go to the gym and work out, stuff like that. It's very basic in GTA 3, but you can't really hold it back too much. I'm not going to sit here and be like, wow, there's really nothing to do in the open world. There's stuff to do. There's not a lot of stuff to do, but for the time, I want to go back into 2001 and be like, for the time, this was very well done. And even though it might not hold up that well today, I still don't think I can take off, you know, points for that, or, you know, drag it down just a little bit because the open world isn't as fleshed out and there's not as much to do as there is in the newer games. It was the first of its kind to do this, and for what it does, I think it does it pretty good. It's pretty solid. Now, another part of this game that I love a lot is the soundtrack, but really the radio. I think when it comes to GTA, that's kind of the thing that you don't really think of, but is also a very important part of the game, because you do a lot of driving in GTA. So you need to be entertained somehow, even though the driving is very good in this game. Having the radios and the soundtrack help keep you entertained while you do so. And although, you know, when I compare it to GTA 5, which, you know, it's hard to do that because the game is, you know, 12 years younger, 12 years more advanced than GTA 3 is, the soundtrack and radio is still really, really good in this game. There's not a whole lot of songs, if really any, I think, off the top of my head that I went in and knew right off the bat. But the different radios and different genres of music and stations that you could listen to, very well done. I listened to a lot of Chatterbox, the talk radio, which, man, that just has great writing, great dialogue, great characters to go along with it. There's a lot of great moments with the Chatterbox radio.
To Chatterbox, the show that is the #1 reason for the success of the internet. All right, let's take a call. Who's on the line?
Clothes.
What about them?
Clothes.
What are you talking about?
Laszlo, clothes. Clothes, Laszlo. I hate them. I just hate them.
Wait, we're all about opinions on Chatterbox, which is Liberty City's premier phone-in station. But why don't you like clones?
I just hate them. They're so constricting. I mean, there's a lion wear clothes, and the lion is the king of the jungle. So why can't I, a humble citizen, go naked?
Well, I mean, I guess a lion has two distinct advantages over you. One, I mean, it's, as you say, a king, and therefore it can exercise its royal prerogative to not wear clothes. And two, it's a cat, and therefore it doesn't have to. And three, I mean, now that I think about it, if you want to try to dress a lion, you can, but I guess what we're learning is that life can be a little unfair at times.
I'm naked, Laszlo. I'm naked.
I really didn't need to know that.
It's my mom. She don't think I'm a real man. Imagine that. I mean, I do a man's job and all, but she treats me like a little boy. All I get is your pa this and your pa that. You ain't a real man, Tony, and it's driving me freaking nuts.
Well, Tony...
Tony? How'd you know my name was Tony? You're tracing this call? Because if you are, you're gonna get real intimately acquainted with what your brains look like. My name ain't Tony, okay?
Okay.
But my mom, she keeps going, Tony, Tony, be a real man. Stand up for yourself. Don't take no shit. But all I do is to be a good son. And I want her to show that she cares for me. Show that she loves me. And, say I was a good kid. But it seems like nothing's ever good enough for her. You know what I mean? What do I do?
Well, sir, in life we have a lot of obligations. And we just kind of have to face up to them. And right now, I'm obligated to play some commercial announcements. We'll be back right after this.
A good shoe starts from the ground up. At Eris, we make high-quality footwear. In fact, you can find Eris running shoes in over 140 countries around the world. In the past, there's been some criticism about our workers. That's why I'm here at one of the Eris factories so you can meet some of them. Excuse me, sir. Do you enjoy your job here?
It's fun. We get to play with knives.
I see. Is there a real sense of teamwork?
My friend Joey sewed his hands together.
Wow, you're learning some real skills. How about the salary and benefits?
Yesterday, I made $1.
See, that's the kind of dedication we have to our employees and the quality of our shoes. Eris running shoes. Always running from something.
But then you also have your music stations when it comes to Game FM, the rap station. KJAR Radio is one that surprised me a lot that I listened to a decent bit, which is, your like reggae style music. And all of these radio stations have their own hosts and commercials that go along with it. So there's radio stations that I didn't listen to in this game just because they weren't my style of music, that I didn't even get to listen to because of that. And there's commercials and dialogue from hosts that I haven't heard yet. And I think having that in all the GTA games is such a great idea to, again, really immerse you in the world, which is really well done. I think the music in this game is, I wouldn't say it's fantastic like it is in other games because, music is subjective. So the songs, even though they were good, they were solid. There's better songs that I've heard in other radios, but for what it is, and again, for the time that it came out, it's still really impressive that this even was able to work the way that it was. So the radio stations, fantastic. As you guys know, if you've watched the other videos that I do, I try to have the soundtrack in the background for that respective game. But because this one is all copyrighted music, you won't be hearing that. You'll just hear a song from a friend that I usually like to get music from. He does a very good job with the music. I keep telling him that he needs to make a YouTube channel so I can shout him out. So if you hear the music in the background or you like it, let me know down in the comments and we'll figure something out. But no soundtrack in the background of this video. It's just going to be that background music. But the soundtrack, again, very well done, and the radio stations are, alongside the open world and the setting, those two things together, my favorite parts of the game. Now let's dive into the gameplay. So for the most part, when it comes to GTA 3, a lot of what you're going to be doing is either driving or shooting. You do a lot of variations of that. There's different objectives that you do. But for the gameplay part of the video, that's kind of what I want to talk about, is the driving and the shooting, combat, whatever you want to call it. Driving is very, very well done in this game. Cars feel fantastic to drive around. All the cars have great differentiation when it comes to the different amounts, the variety of cars that you can find, like the Stinger that you really get to use in the second part of the game, or the second third of the game when you get to the second island, and you do see a lot more of those kind of spawning around you. But then you have stuff like, that you see in GTA 5, the stuff that we know from GTA 5. If you come back like I did, go from GTA 5 to 3, like you have the Banshee, cars like that. All the cars feel very good. They are unique from one another. They feel different, and again, help immerse you in this world, in this city. The car is very well done. But what I will say about the cars, and I'm not sure how this is going to go forward. I don't remember this being a problem in GTA 5, but the cars are like paper. I mean, you can get shot just a few times and your car's on fire. Or if you hit too many cars, your car's on fire. It does get a little frustrating, especially when you go through the story and the missions, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I did not realize that the cars weren't really all that durable in GTA 3, and they can explode very, very quickly, which can cause some frustration, cause some problems if you're trying to get stuff done. Also, no car flip mechanic. Again, older game, 2001, didn't have it, didn't know it didn't have it. So whenever you flip your car over and you can't get back, you're not able to flip your car back over. So once it's on the roof, it just sets on fire and boom, it blows up. You gotta find another car. That car is gone. So there's some frustrating things that kind of show its age with the mechanics when it comes to the cars and the driving. The driving feels great, but some of the mechanics, like I said, with how durable the cars are, I think that they're just a little too, easily explodable. Let's just say that, for me not having a great word for it. And then also the no flip mechanic, I'm not gonna hold it back because 2001, you gotta try and put yourself in that time. I think you can go and say that there's parts of the game that didn't age all that well, and even though I think that the, let's say, car mechanics haven't aged all that well, I can say that it's a little frustrating. The driving feels great, I do believe that. Now with the combat and the gameplay, again, honestly didn't really age all that well, but it's not bad. It just can feel really, really clunky, especially when it auto locks on to pretty much every enemy, and you don't, there's times where maybe you're trying to shoot a car for an objective and blow it up, but there's enemies around you, so you try to go and aim for the car, but your auto aim goes on to an enemy, and it's really hard to pull it away from the enemies, because sometimes they'll just bounce between the enemies and auto aim from enemy to enemy, and that can be pretty frustrating. And this is not an easy game. There's really some difficult parts, even though, like I said, we'll talk about in a minute, the mission design can be frustrating, but just in general, you can die very, very quickly. Even if you have body armor and you have full health, you can die very quick. Enemies, they can take a couple of shots to finish and kill, but I think even though it maybe hasn't aged all that well, I think it's still passable. It still gets the job done. It's frustrating. It can be fun. It's like right in that middle where not aged all that well, but it's still solid enough to get you through the entire game and, not really kind of hold it back all that much. You can get different guns. You can go to the ammunition. I think that's what it's called in this game. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is still called the ammunition in GTA 3. And, there's a solid, even though small, solid lineup of weapons. Like you got your M16, your AK, your pistol, shotgun, Uzi, rocket launchers, sniper rifle. Very, condensed, small selection of weapons. But they all get the job done, and they all feel different from each other, and you can kind of figure out which guns you like the most. So when it comes to the gameplay and combat, I think it is on the brink of, at best, it's solid. At worst, it shows its age. It can feel very clunky, very janky, but it gets the job done, and that is really all I can ask for GTA 3. Now this is the part of the game where I think the game shows its age the worst, and that is the mission design. Was not a fan of the mission design in GTA 3. So at the first part of the game, when you start going through the story, I think the mission design is very boring, and the missions are just kind of repetitive, fetch quest, busy work style missions where you're just driving from point to point. You might have to go pick someone up and drive them somewhere. You might end up having to shoot some people along the way. The first part of the game, the mission design is very boring, very repetitive, just kind of busy work. Second part of the game, it does get a little bit more, I guess there's more variety in the mission design, but it just still isn't all that great, especially since there are no checkpoints throughout missions. That's another thing that this game doesn't have. You know, again, 2001, if you die right at the end of a mission, you gotta start the mission all over again. And there are missions like the one where, I don't want to spoil the story, but let's just say you have to kill a certain character in the game, and you have to disguise yourself as a part of a gang to be able to trick him into thinking that that gang did it, to kind of be very broad about it. So you have to go and you have to find a certain car that goes alongside that gang and what they drive around, and there's a spot where you can do that. So whenever you get to that spot, you get the car, you drive to the location, and you have to go to the top of this parking garage, and they're all just kind of sitting there, and you can shoot out of the window with a gun, and that's also super clunky. You can do that if you wanted to. You can try to do what I did and just go full in and run them all over, but because the car's durability isn't great, you try to do that, and pretty much every time that happens, you will blow up. And even though you kill everyone there, your car's on fire, everyone's dead, if you get out of the car before you leave, the game thinks that they know now it was you instead of the gang that you're trying to frame it on, and you failed the mission. Or the car blows up, you failed the mission even though you've killed everybody. Stuff like that. That's just one example. I could pull multiple if I really sat here and thought about it, but there's a lot of parts and a lot of moments in this game with the mission design where I was getting very, very frustrated and really was just trying to finish it, kind of going through it, really hoping that the story would be over because of the mission design. And it's difficult. That's not a bad thing. It's difficult in some areas where the mission design is fine, but it's just a difficult mission. Those missions are fine. If the mission is difficult because, it's supposed to be, I get that. But when the mission is difficult because of the way it was designed, which are a very good amount of missions in this game, that's where I just wasn't having a great time and was getting very frustrated and just hoping that the mission design would get better, and it never really did. There's a couple missions that are pretty solid, but overall, not really a lot of memorable missions in this game that I won't go back and be like, oh yeah, that was a really cool moment. The first half of the game, very fetch questy, busy work. Second half of the game, it does open up a little bit more, but it does end up getting more frustrating, and it's the part of the game I feel like that hasn't aged really all that well at all. And now we get to the story of GTA 3. You play as Claude, who, I did not know this coming into GTA 3, is a silent protagonist. At the beginning of the game, you get betrayed by your girlfriend, Catalina, and now are, I guess sort of, it is leaning towards going and getting revenge on Catalina. But after that happens, that opening cutscene, you get broken out of prison, you start working for gangs, and you meet characters that are, it's a pretty solid cast of characters. I think voice acting, very well done in this game throughout by everyone. Even like Michael Madsen, who I didn't know was in this game, does a very good job as Tony Cipriani. But Claude not being a voice protagonist really threw me off because I didn't know that, and coming into it, I was expecting, I'd heard you got GTA San Andreas with CJ, and that voice actor does a very good job. GTA Vice City with Tommy Vercetti, you have, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the very, very prominent actor Ray Liotta, who plays Tommy Vercetti. So I was coming and expecting a voice protagonist. Not having that kind of threw me off, and it does, I think, hold the game back when it comes to the story. I think overall the story is just there. There's not a lot of good moments. There's some very solid moments brinking on the edge of being good, where, you know, there's betrayal happening, and, you know, like at the end of what I would say the first act, the first third of the game, I think that was done pretty well. But there's not a whole lot that happens in this story, and you just kind of play as this blank slate character that, you know, obviously never says anything. He never displays any emotion about what's going on. He just kind of does what he is told to do, and I think it holds the game back. I think the story is on the brink of, I'd say, it's there. Like, I'm not going to say it's good because I don't really think it is. It's just there. There's decent moments. There's good moments that can happen. And I think the best part of the story are the characters that are voiced. I think you do get to meet and talk to a lot of solid characters. But the actual story itself of what happens from beginning to end, it's just kind of there. It's not very memorable. I don't think I'm going to look back on GTA 3 and remember the story and what happened during it in different moments. I think this is probably the most disappointing part of the game. Maybe that's a hot take, but that's just for me when I was going through it. And I think having Claude be a silent protagonist is a pretty big reason why. I think silent protagonists are a very tricky thing to handle. You know, I think about like a BioShock with Jack, and how I think he might have said one or two things throughout the entire game, but for the most part he was very silent. But the story that was told was still able to be told in a way that was, that, you know, even though it was a silent protagonist, still had a fantastic story. It's hard to do silent protagonist, I think, and even though this was the original 3D open world game and they were still trying to figure out how they wanted to do it and where to go with it, I think the story was one thing that definitely can be improved on in later games, and with 5 I think it is, and from what I've heard about Vice City and San Andreas and 4, it definitely does get improved. So I think the story is just kind of there. It helps get you from mission to mission, but it's not really anything more than that. I think Claude being a silent protagonist in this game kind of holds the story back from being a very solid to good story. It had potential, but I don't think it reached it throughout the entire story. So that is going to do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me talking about GTA 3. Overall, I'd say, even though mission design and story and some mechanics haven't aged all that well, this is a very solid game and a very solid GTA game. I'd probably put it, if I had to put it like on a tier list, which maybe that's something we can do after Vice City, San Andreas, and 4 are all done. We can do the main games and talk about them. I'd say it's probably like a low B. I still think it's a very solid game. I would not be against coming back to GTA 3 every once in a while and just driving around the city. I really liked Liberty City as a setting. They did a fantastic job with immersion and atmosphere. The driving feels great. The NPCs have great dialogue in the open world, helping you feel like you're in this city and helping you feel immersed. The radios and the songs and the soundtrack do a fantastic job of, again, immersing you. This game does a very good job of immersing you in its setting, and I would be more than happy to come back to it every once in a while and just drive around and enjoy Liberty City. So that'll do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I'll talk to you later.